You are so disrespectful.
He is going to fall off a cliff.
Shut the hell up.
That's not even close to my best.
They're wrong. And I don't give a damn that they agree with me or not.
You know what it is. Time now for Stephen A. Smith's final word of the day. This is Final Take. Stephen A., take us home.
Thank you, Molly. Obviously, we learned the news that Michael Floyd Jr., wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, was cut by the team following Monday's arrest on a DUI charge along with disobeying a police officer. There are a lot of folks out there that's going to feel sorry for this man. He was the first-round pick, 13th overall in 2012. He's only had 1,000-yard season in his 5 years in the NFL. By all accounts, the Carson Palmers, the Honey Badger, and others, they swear that he's an incredibly good guy, affable, fun to be around and get along with and what have you. But the Arizona Cardinals let him go anyway. What I would caution everybody, or at least encourage everybody to do instead of lamenting his departure, is to pay attention to what president of the team, Michael Bidwell, took the time to say. He called it a statement. And that is what we should be paying attention to right now. And here is why. Michael Floyd is not an elite receiver, even though he's had great moments. He was an average player, maybe above average. The Arizona Cardinals clearly don't care. What they care about is your behavior. You got Bruce Arians, who was on the record when you had other players that were involved with accusations of domestic violence and beyond. He talked about how that would be tolerated. Clearly, when you get in trouble with DUI and you're a relatively average player who's not achieving as much as you would like, you're considered expendable. But more importantly than that, the Arizona Cardinals are saying to hell with the NFL, the commissioner's exempt list and all of this other stuff. This is our franchise, and we're going to look at you, and we're going to hold you accountable, not just for being the player and the talent that you're supposed to be, but for being the responsible professional and human being that you're supposed to be. We're not letting the league make that call. We're not letting the commissioner make that call. We will do it ourselves. We will take accountability for it. And that's exactly what we should all want from any team in the NFL. Not someone who piggybacks on the backs of the league, but somebody who takes it upon themselves to establish a standard and be unapologetic for it. I feel bad for Michael Floyd, but I applaud the Arizona Cardinals for making the statement themselves instead of leaving it to somebody else.
You like some good trash talk? So do I. Earlier this month, UFC superstar Conor McGregor obtained a boxing license in California, something that did not amuse Floyd Mayweather, who Floyd is hoping to fight in the boxing ring. Floyd had this to say to Fight Hype. I don't fight in California. What did he get a license in California for? I'm going to tell you like this. He's blowing smoke up everybody's bleep. He don't really want to fight because I went to his boss. He don't really want to fight. He's just doing that to keep his name alive. You know what I'm saying? To stay relevant. He don't really want to fight. He's doing that, building his followers, but he is smart. Stephen A. Smith, what do you make of Floyd's latest comments on Conor?
Well, what it says to me is that Floyd is looking to fight somebody and is looking to get paid because he has to know enough about Conor McGregor to know that the second Conor McGregor gets wind of his comments, Conor McGregor is going to have something to say. If there is one person in this world that can talk more smack than Floyd Money Mayweather, it would happen to be Conor McGregor. There's no question about that. I also saw where Floyd talked about if he saw him, he'd slap him. Let's be clear. Floyd is alluding to what he would do inside the boxing ring. Outside the boxing ring or in an octagon, I humbly say to you, Floyd wants no part of Conor McGregor. You don't want none of that because that's not just boxing. Boxing, Floyd would pick him apart. He would eat him alive. He would embarrass him. He would hurt him because it's just hand-to-hand combat with the gloves. In the streets or in the octagon, you get to use everything. Legs, elbows, feet, etc. He ain't on Conor's McGregor on the level in that regard. So I just think he needs to pump the brakes there. But in the end, he's bringing attention to it by talking about it. Floyd is a moneymaker. He understands that. And that's why he said what he said.
Yeah, we're on the same page about this one. Look, in a boxing match, it's no contest. That's easy work, as Floyd would say. In a fight, which is when you say the octagon or the street, what you just really mean is a fight. In a fight, Floyd's got no wins and no chance against Conor McGregor. So when he says he's going to slap him, he has to be talking about inside a ring. Now let's talk about inside a ring and what Floyd is actually doing here. He said, Conor McGregor's smart, he's getting his followers up. Yeah, Conor McGregor is smart. He understands self-promotion. And Floyd Mayweather is smart. And what Floyd is doing here is really pumping up Conor McGregor. He is helping to raise McGregor's profile and stoke the flames of for people who want to see this confrontation, because Floyd knows it's the easiest possible way for him to make $100 million plus, is to take a guy who has no business in the ring with him, and it would surely take place in the ring and not the octagon, and get $100 million plus for beating him as he pleases. So Floyd here is helping to raise the profile of McGregor, whose profile is already very high, and the potential of a fight. Floyd knows just what he's doing, as Conor McGregor does. They're both very smart.
It's a potential exhibition. Everybody keeps saying that it's not going to happen. Let me tell you something. If enough people clamor for something, and it's deduced that you're definitely going to make major money off of this, then it will happen, because that's what this world cares about in every industry. That's just the way that it goes. Very few people on the planet know that better than Floyd Money Mayweather, and Conor McGregor has clearly become a very fast learner. And as somebody who was at ringside for Conor McGregor's fight, last month at Madison Square Garden, I got to confess, it was electrifying, man, to watch this dude walk into a ring, to watch the reaction that he generates. If you're talking about him transferring that enthusiasm, that energy, that fervor to a fan base, along with Floyd Money Mayweather, as much of a joke as it may be in the eyes of many,
By the way,
a fight
it was
that
incredible.
could happen.
Going forward, people are going to have to figure out a way. There will be more of these hybrid potential matchups between boxers and MMA fighters, and always in the ring, the boxer's going to whoop them, and always in the octagon, the MMA fighter's going to whoop the boxer. I think people need to start thinking about a way to put them in with something that kind of splits the difference, so you actually don't know who is going to win.
I'll pay to see it, that's for sure.
Jerry Jones is the owner for the Dallas Cowboys. He cuts the check. And this man has come out publicly and all but said, I hope something happens to Dak Prescott so Tony Romo could get up in there. This ain't a bus driver we're talking about here. This dude is something special. How in God's name does that benefit Dak Prescott? What's inescapable and what is undeniable is the fact that Jerry Jones has made it very, very clear he don't want Dak to be that guy.
All right, Will Kane back with us. So, Will, that was earlier in the show. You were not with us
I didn't miss
at the time.
I promise you, I didn't miss
Okay.
it. Yeah.
What was your reaction to Stephen A. and Max right there?
Well, I've had time to recover, but I was a little worked up about it. I mean, we also left out the key word, I think, which was, you said Jerry Jones, Stephen A. was trying to sabotage Dak Prescott. That's interesting. And Max says Jerry Jones has called Dak Prescott a bus driver. So let's make a couple quick points. It's amazing to me your low opinion, both of you, your low opinion of Dak Prescott. See, I have made the argument from time to time that the Cowboys should consider when they would move towards Tony Romo, that if Dak puts together a couple more games that are below average or not up to what the standards are of a Super Bowl team, they should consider Tony Romo. And the feedback I constantly get is, you don't care about this team, you're trying to undercut Dak? It's the same thing you're doing. You guys think Dak can't handle this? You think Dak's confidence is that weak? You think Dak's belief in himself is subject to the latest comments from you or Jerry Jones or me? That is a low opinion of Dak Prescott. Earlier in the show, you both said, to your credit, that Dak could handle the outside pressure. If you can walk that far, why do you take such a left turn at the last moment? Stephen A., I know the answer with you. Jerry Jones wants to sabotage Dak Prescott. Your answer for that left turn out of nowhere is simply your bias. You just can't see the Cowboys the right way. You've admitted on the show that your emotion has clouded your judgment. But Max, you're a man who prides himself on being rational. If you could see the world in ones and zeros, that would be your preference. You want to see it all add up mathematically. But you say that Jerry Jones called Dak a bus driver?
Yeah.
You know he did not do that. You know how to read that quote, Max. He said
how?
He said Tony Romo is not a bus driver in comparing him to other backup quarterbacks, not in comparing him to Dak.
No,
he
a bus
wasn't saying
driver is a
Dak's
backup
bus driver
quarterback?
and Tony's not. He's saying most backups are bus drivers and Tony is not.
Boy,
that.
you read that. I don't know what your reading comprehension scores were, Will, but boy, you got that one wrong.
Sorry.
You are. First,
Simply,
I thought
Max,
you were just creating a straw man in
Max,
me to have something to whack at, because I agree that Dak Prescott's mentally very strong, obviously, and this kind of criticism is not going to affect him the way it would affect somebody else. But to argue that Jerry Jones is referring to other backup quarterbacks as bus drivers, when bus driver could be heard as game manager, and he's clearly saying Tony Romo is better than that? Who do you think he's talking about?
This isn't a debate. I'm sorry, bud. You were wrong on this. The reading comprehension is clear. He's referring to other backups. He's saying our $100 million guy over here, $100 million guy, we're not talking about this being Kyle Orton over there. We're not talking about this being a bus driver. He's not saying the guy who's in the game, who's won him 11 games, is a bus driver. He's simply not doing that.
He's saying Tony Romo is more than a guy who doesn't make mistakes and is a game manager. Bus driver might as well be read as game manager, which is what Dak Prescott's been accused of being, even though he's more. First of all, game manager is not a dirty word. And secondly, Dak Prescott's clearly shown to be much more than that. When he says that, he is elevating Romo at the expense of Dak.
Stephen A.
Well, I was actually enjoying the back and forth banter between the two guys. And I mean, in the case of Will, I find it not just ironic, but absolutely hysterical that he would accuse me of being biased when it comes to the Cowboys, as if he's not. I love how he just eradicates and omits himself from that equation. Like, oh, I'm not objective, but he is. He's just a paragon of virtue in that regard. Stop your nonsense. You know better. Well, you have no objectivity when it comes to your Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, by the way, especially when it comes to Tony Romo. Because the one thing that easily a little child could predict when it comes to Will Cain is that it is important for him to be right. And how in God's name could you possibly be right if you ignored what Jerry Jones is trying to do with Tony Romo? You probably are the only person on the planet that wants Tony Romo in the lineup more than Jerry Jones. So who are you to sit up there and to pick apart my statement, which are very obvious, by the way. Jerry Jones has a, hold on, zip it, listen. Jerry Jones is the owner for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott has won 11 straight. The only 2 losses has been to the New York Giants. They are 11-2, clearly in position to win the NFC East, clearly in a position to be the #1 seed in the entire NFC. And yet Jerry Jones is talking about what a great moment it would be if Tony Romo found his way back into that lineup. What do you call that, Will? What do you call it?
Honesty. That's what I call it.
Oh,
honesty.
Honesty in terms of his feelings?
Yeah.
In terms of his feelings and his wishes?
My turn.
And his wishes?
My turn. Let me tell you this. You're right. I don't lie to anybody. I'm not here playing a role. I'm not acting. I have bias on the Cowboys. It is true. As do you. I have a positive bias towards the Cowboys. You have a negative
one.
You have a negative one. You know the difference between you and me?
Don't sit there and leave it on me. That's all I said. Don't forget yourself.
Okay, but the difference between us, while we both have our bias, is that I've been right and you've been wrong.
How?
I have sat here with you week after week, except for the weeks when you couldn't face the competition with me, telling you the Cowboys were going to win, starting with the Washington Redskins in week 2, all the way through now. You have been wrong.
No.
Again,
Will,
and again,
and again. Time out, Will.
You were saying Romo was going to get his job back.
It's on tape.
I'm not done with that, Max. It's not over.
Hold it, Will. You sounded like that dude from Saturday Night Live that played Tim Kaine. Relax, chill out. Here's the deal, okay? I am on the record saying that the Dallas Cowboys, before the season began, would win the NFC East. That's number 1. Number 2, I said ain't no way in hell they're winning the Super Bowl. Come to me in February and let's see if I'm wrong. Number 3, what I said is this. Why are you rooting for Tony Romo? Me personally, if Tony Romo is back in the lineup, it will ensure that Jerry Jones has messed it up and the Dallas Cowboys are going down. So I won't mind. You want Tony Romo regardless of what Dak Prescott does, but you call yourself a a Cowboy fan when in fact you're really rooting for Tony Romo? How do you explain that?
And Will,
Yes, Max.
to sit there and say that you've been right and Stephen A's been wrong about the Cowboys all year. Yeah, this is the year that the Cowboys have so far gone 11-2.
Yeah.
The Cowboys fan is
They
going to be
blew
right a
out
lot
you
that
of it.
year. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
It's been a good
that's
year,
just
Max.
the way it goes.
Yeah, it's been a good year.
Yes, it has if you're a Cowboys fan so
Here,
far.
final points on this. The Jerry Jones and how do I explain myself to you, Stephen A. Jerry Jones is being honest. He's not painting it or spinning it or being a politician. He's acknowledging that he has an emotional connection to Tony Romo. And the story
let's
would
give him
play
a
out
cookie.
well. The story would play out well that the franchise quarterback would win the Super Bowl. But he doesn't want to sabotage Dak. Neither do I. I think the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl with either. I think Tony increases the odds. I'm not alone, by the way. Dominique Foxworth, Bomani Jones, other people have acknowledged this as well. I'm not alone here.
Would Dak Prescott be anything
country is
less than
300
million.
sabotage
Find a few
if
who
Tony
agree.
Romo ends up in the lineup, even if he doesn't get injured, but Tony Romo still found
Gentlemen,
his way up in the
this
lineup?
is
Would that
fun.
not be sabotage?
Sabotage. Like he wants to sabotage.
We gotta go.
Please.
Listen,
Man,
the
go
Giants.
home.
The
Go
Giants
home,
know
Will.
about
We're done.
sabotage. They sabotage your Cowboys' choice. Well, so good to see you.